Hey Ant friends, and welcome to this week's video. So this week I'm doing a sketchbook flip through, and I have three different sorts of Etchr sketchbook. I've got the Etchr Everyday, the Etchr Perfect Sketchbook, and the Etchr Perfect Sketchbook Signature series. And I'd like to, as well as showing you what's inside my sketchbooks, give you a bit of a comparison of the three. So I'll do it a little bit chronologically. First up, I'll start with the Etchr Perfect Sketchbook because that was the first one I got, and the art in it is a little bit not great. I won't lie. It is a bit basic. So I started this sketchbook. When did I start this sketchbook? Be helpful if I had written it on there, right? 2021, around the end of 2021. So the thing I don't like about Etchr sketchbooks, I was just mucking around here with different materials, just doing a bit of a swatchy to see how the paper went. But yeah, I hate how the first page, it's always like the binding's weird there, see? So you basically, this page isn't as usable, which really annoys me considering the price of these sketchbooks. I'll put the prices up on the screen because I just can't remember right now. So the paper is artist grade 100% cotton watercolor paper, 300 GSM. And I don't think it actually says if it's cold press on here, but it's quite textured. And it is landscape format, as you can see, which is not something I really love. I prefer the other two. So on with the flip through. So this is from a photo challenge by Kim Yest. And I was still doing just straight up watercolor at that point. And here is where I sort of started getting into a bit more illustrative, a bit more fantastical, a little bit more ghosty, spooky kind of stuff. And I really quite like some of this. Look at that cute bear. And also a little bit more mixed media stuff too, like pencils and neo colors over the watercolor. So yeah, this little foresty landscape. My first attempt at drawing a squirrel did not go well. Looks like it would kill you. But that bear's cute. And I really enjoyed that. So this is a bit of a continuation. That is my dog Luna. That is my dog Hamish. The other animals aren't animals I've met before. These clouds are cute though, right? And yeah, I was just playing around with different ways. This is in the style of an artist I really like, Yelena James. And she does a lot of sort of underwater patterny kind of things. Her book, what's it called? It is called Star Branch Spiral Fan, and it has a lot of different exercises and that kind of thing in it, which is really fun. And yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this, playing around with like some different pens and pencils. I don't like how pencil goes on this paper. And I think even some gouache maybe. And yeah, little patterns and stuff. It was quite fun. That's my dog Luna. I think I've evolved a little bit in drawing her since that time, but I do like some of this mark making. And love drawing tentacles. I quite like that red with that aqua colour too. And that was another drawing challenge. Can't remember, I didn't write down who that was from, but I like some of this texture here. Just playing around here. I think that was from a reference on Unsplash, and I just wanted to lay down some watercolor and do some inking over the top. I'm quite happy with how that came out. Those windows were fun. That's from 1 Hour 1 Sketch. Don't hate that. Don't love it. And this is from a picture I took when we took the dogs to the beach. I think it's from Altona Beach in Melbourne. And it's just a cityscape. And gosh, that day was windy though. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I like how I've got the different like the water and the sand. And this is when I sort of started realizing I like doing more spooky stuff. See that guy? That was just a swatch, and then I did that spooky guy and I really loved it. And yeah, castle, some spooky trees and a bat. That is Daniel Smith's Lunar Black and Lunar Blue. So I was just experimenting with some granulation. Granulation, I don't think that's a word. Granulation. Another drawing challenge. Leaves, I can't say that. Leaves Pagilia, hashtag draw red sandstones. I quite enjoyed doing this, but I could probably have done a bit more. But I like how the roofs are there. I mean, I'd only been doing watercolour for a little while at this point, so nothing's going to be great. This is playing around with, I think, Neo Colour ones and then doing paint over the top, and gives you quite a fun texture. Don't love the picture overall, but some of the textures are quite nice. No idea where this came from, but those flowers are cute. I like the stormy clouds too. I think that was probably Daniel Smith Moonglow. And then just some pencil, but yeah, I really don't like how the pencil came out. And this is around the point I realized I didn't like painting on the backs of pages, because you never know what you want to do. You might want to take something out and frame it. Obviously none of this because it's not very good, but yeah, I feel like the paper reacts better if it doesn't have anything on the back too. This one, I haven't even taken the tape off. It's not finished, but I'm never going to do anything to it, so I should just take the tape off, I guess. And yeah, starting to get into more moody landscapes at that point. And yeah, I do like laying down just the watercolor and then working over the top of it, I have to say. This was from, I was going to say Augustus, but it was in July, so it can't have been. It was some ghosty challenge, and I really, really, sort of when I discovered I really like drawing ghosts, I think. Ghost ship was the prompt, but I really can't remember what the challenge was. Had quite a bit of fun in the water too. I love drawing ships as well. And this was a challenge for the Ukraine, Draw Ukraine MV. I really enjoyed this, but it was sad because, you know, can't believe it's been almost a year since it started. Pretty awful. But on a more cheery note, these colours are nice, right? And I like how I did the trees. I was really happy with this. This is from a challenge by Robin Louise on Instagram. Had quite a bit of fun with all the different tree textures, a bit of mark making. That tree looks good. I don't know why I used so much pencil on this paper though, when I did not like using pencil on this paper. And this is from, I did a challenge. It wasn't a challenge, it was a competition. I'll put up on the screen where from because I don't remember. My brain's not very good today. And it was to illustrate a scene from The Mask of Red Death by Poe. And I didn't get longlisted, and when I looked at who did, it was understandable because the artwork was just so amazing. And this is, I mean, this was just a rough sketch. I ended up doing it in Procreate, but looks like he's wearing a hockey mask, right? But yeah, awesome story. Not great painting. And this I was just playing around with like different ways of drawing trees and landscapes. Quite enjoy that. Just from my imagination, I think. I think that might have been one of the first times I used acrylic because it's quite thick. Little swatches there. This is from a picture on Unsplash, and I just wanted to experiment with, you know, spooky forests, that kind of thing. This was around the time I started realizing I didn't like just using watercolor straight up. And this is from a challenge by text.art on Instagram. And this was another one of the first times I used acrylic, and I just absolutely love how it came out. I really enjoyed it. It was how I realized how I like to draw skulls too. So, and these colors, how nice are they? And just some swatches on the back. So that's that sketchbook. So yeah, I mean, it is probably better just for straight up watercolor rather than mixed media. And yeah, I'll reserve my final thoughts for the end, but that is the Etchr Perfect Sketchbook. Okay, and next up I'll do the Etchr Everyday. And this one was around $50 Australia, which is still a little bit expensive, I think. Might have been a bit less. I'll put the prices up on the screen. But yeah, for an everyday sketchbook, I think that's a bit pricey. It's got the fabric cover, which a lot of people don't like because it gets dirty, but doesn't bother me one way or the other, really. And again, we've got that weird first page thing happening. It's just a simple little building that I did with this and the signature sketchbook. Things aren't chronological because I've prepped pages with gouache and then gone back to them later. So this one I did pretty recently. Actually just did it to fill in the sketchbook for this flip through. This is an older one I did. I was experimenting with sort of like Victorian frames and that kind of thing, and I really like how this came out, and I like the colours too. They're very Victorian-y, I guess. But what's going on with her arm? Am I right? I like that frame though. This I did recently. I had started a challenge and never ever finished it, so I just gessoed over the top and then did this little bit of a night landscape, which I really enjoyed. That was just with acrylic gouache and then pencil, which I think was luminance, Caran d'Ache luminance. My shoe just fell off. That was what that was. So yeah, that was fun. I think I might have mixed some of the blue black Turner Japanesque in with the gouache to get that colour. I really like that colour. This is that was me doing a bit of life drawing, but I decided that since I like doing frames, but they're quite time consuming to draw, I would do some lino cut frames. And this is one of them. I'm really happy with how that came out. I should use it more often because it took me a while and I'm really happy with it. And then that's just little Sir Ghostington guy with his dapper hat and his monocle and moustache. Really enjoyed doing that. This is Trixie Divine. This is one of the first Emma Carlisle Patreon sessions I did. And I'm just absolutely, I just love Trixie Divine. I mean, everybody does, don't they? She's one of the best life drawing models going around. She always makes things interesting. I did this recently and I wanted to experiment with different ocean textures, and I'm pretty happy with that. And I like my little ship. So that was good. That is with acrylic gouache mixed with the golden acrylic open. It's weird, like when you're listening to an audio book and doing a drawing, how you look at the drawing and you can remember the scenes that you were listening to, isn't it? I've been listening to Dark Academia a lot lately and I don't like it. So that kind of colours my perception of this picture, but I like the picture separately to the memories. This is from an Etchr workshop that I did. You get one free, I think, when you buy Etchr sketchbooks. And it was really interesting because they just used the sort of Payne's grey, dark blue grey, and then the sort of sepia brown. And I really liked the effect of that, the warm and the cool together. And so I decided to play around with that in just a landscape. But I don't like that as much as that one because, you know, obviously that was following a tutorial. And this is when I discovered that I really like just laying down a colour and doing some gouache over the top. So fond memories here. I mean, the water could have been done a bit better. Everything could have been done a bit better, but I really like the lighthouse. I like the pop of red against a kind of muted landscape too. This was for Whimsical Mermaid, and I have to say I don't really like it. I think I overworked it, and then the tape ripped, as you can see. I don't like how I did the water. I ended up redoing this in Procreate, and I quite liked it though. So I'll put that picture up on the screen here so you can compare. The effect of the light on this, I couldn't get to my liking, but it was really easy to do in Procreate because you can just do it as a layer. This is another lino print I did with just trees making a border, and then I just painted that little skeleton in and some leaves and stuff. So I love lino cuts, but because my hands are bad, it's hard to do sometimes. Another Trixie. What a cheeky face she has. This was just on prep pages and just drawing over the top. Neo Color 2, I think, and then I wetted it to make it a bit more opaque. I love drawing owls. I love this color in the background too. I like quite a few things about this. There's an artist I really love whose name I can't remember, and I bought one of her prints that has a similar foresty vibe. I will put a little thing up here to show you that. And I mean, I didn't want to copy her exactly, obviously, but I really like how she did the forest. So I was just sort of doing a bit of a study. This, I've got no idea. I think I started doing something and I messed it up, and then I just went crazy. And I really like how this little guy came out with the cool hat and the cool collar. It's funny how when you mess things up, you end up liking them better because you just don't care anymore, isn't it? This is a cute moon. I was just experimenting with acrylic gouache and trees. This I hate because I did the butterfly and I was so happy with how I did the butterfly. And then I added all this other stuff and I didn't like it, and I feel like it ruined my really awesome butterfly. So I just feel disappointed when I look at it. The wisteria, I don't like how that came out. It's a bit overwrought. More pork. I was looking at owls, and there is this really cute owl called a morepork, and it comes from around where I grew up, which I didn't even know there were owls there. So yeah, I decided to draw that little guy, and I really like how he came out. That's with acrylic, I would say. What acrylic? Don't know. Some acrylic, maybe acrylic gouache, maybe a mix. Cute guy, cute owl. I love owls. Another Trixie. Kind of overworked that and the paper started pilling, but I quite like it for its simplicity. This, I love doing abstract art, but I'm not very good at it because I don't feel like I know enough about composition. But I just wanted to play around with like a nice sort of pastel blue and a deep red. And I really, really, really love how this came out. I was going to do more to it, but then I was like, no, just leave it, step away. This is from Unsplashed, I think. I just always like drawing spooky looking houses. My go-to. And yeah, don't love how I did the windows, but I'm quite happy with how I've got the depth under the little walkway part there. This is just a study I did for when I was doing the art showdown between the digital and the acrylic gouache, and I just wanted to sort of get an idea of the composition and that kind of thing. Really like the granulation on the castle and the wings as well. That I think is Daniel Smith's Sleeping Beauty and Daniel Smith's Luna Black in the watercolor. It was really hard getting the girl on the back of the dragon without her looking like a wound on the back of the dragon, but I sort of needed a poppy colour to make her stand out. So I play around with that a little bit. This is just another moody landscape that I did the other day. Again, Daniel Smith Lunar Black, and then gouache, watercolour, and then pencil over the top. And I had a lot of fun just making different marks, just playing around. Quite like doing just dark silhouetted castles. And here are the bunny. I wanted to draw a spooky bunny, but it didn't look as spooky as I hoped. I tried to draw like a waving paw, and it did not look like a paw. So I painted over that because, you know, I wanted it to be PG. And yeah, I did a drawing challenge from Eva Boniva last month, which was like a jackalope, and I just really, really enjoyed drawing the bunniness of it. So expect more bunnies from me in the future. I never thought that's something I'd say. And then just a cute little cemetery house. This was Echo Line with some pencil over the top. Just because it was the last page, I wanted to fill it in, but I really quite like how that one came out. So that is the Etchr Everyday. And the paper on this is quite smooth. It's good for all sorts of media. The pencil comes out a lot better, the Echo Line. It's fine for, I mean, you wouldn't do a full watercolor in it, obviously, because it's hot press. It's not, you know, meant for, you know, making the colors mix nicely and all that kind of thing, but it does the job. And it's, yeah, decent paper. Not sure it's worth the price, but it's all right. And that is the Etchr Everyday. And now we come to the Etchr Perfect Sketchbook Signature Series, which was about twice as much as that. The dogs got it for me for Christmas the year before last, so 2021 Christmas. And it was about $100, $110. The paper's Fabriano, and it is very nice paper. I got the hot press again because I wanted to, so I got the little insert. No. But this and this, they're both B5 size. That one's A4. And I do like the B5 size, and I like the portrait. But this is very expensive. Very expensive. And so, yeah, I started it. I opened it a day early because dogs can't tell dates. They don't know if you open the present early. And yeah, I just did some little swatches. With some, my sister got me a little watercolor dot card for Christmas, and so I'll just swatch those out, and she got me some other little bits and bobs that I swatched there, so that's nice. Once again, we've got the weird page, and yeah, for like $100 sketchbook, you want all your pages to be incredibly functional. And I also got the Schminker Tundra and Glacier colors, the little sets for Christmas that year. So that's just a swatch of them. How nice is that one? That is so beautiful. And this is just a photo challenge that I didn't write down where it was from. Sorry, whoever's photo that is. This, because this is also hot press, so it isn't great for straight up watercolor, but it is lovely paper. I mean, it's Fabriano. It's 300 GSM and very nice. It's got a tiny little bit of texture, but not too much. It's very smooth. This is what was on our coffee table on New Year's Day 2022. It's for pencil shavings, spray bottle, stuff for a still life, my glasses, pencils, brushes. I think is my sketchbook, Neo Colors. So that's a cute little still life. I mean, in hindsight, I would probably not do something so rough on such expensive paper, but what can you do? And this, I was playing around with the granulation, the Tundra and the Glacier colors again. Not sure what was going on here, but I don't hate it. I don't know, maybe they're Tombos? Not sure what's over the top there. That's pencil, I think, or maybe Neo Color. This is a big mess, but I really love how I drew my little dog there with the wings and the sunglasses and the antenna. So I didn't paint over it because I just really love that. Don't know what's going on with me being an alien there. I think that I had a lot of feelings at that time. A lot of feelings. They probably weren't happy feelings because, but some of them were. Okay. This is from Kat's February challenge last year, Kat being my sister. This I think is from Fitzroy in Melbourne. I'm really happy with how I got the depth in that terrace house there. Quite happy with that picture overall, actually. I remember hating it at the time, but in hindsight I quite like it. This I did the other day. I've been keeping a book journal, drawing pictures of like every book that I read this year, and I read If We Were Villains the other day, and I just wanted to practice a scene from that, which is near the end. I won't spoil it. But then I didn't draw the characters, I just drew a cat chasing a mouse because I couldn't be bothered trying to draw people. Cool story, right? Cute cat though. But I mean, this isn't my book journal. That's coming later. This is from Storefronts Japan. Their challenge sometime last year, started last year. Watercolor with some pencil over the top. Don't love it. I don't really love how I draw plants. I have to say, I need to find a way to do plants that I don't hate, like that tree though. That's just a page I prepped and then drew a cute bear over the top. That's gouache, and then I've just done some markings in Ecoline. This is another page I prepped and then just did some patterns over. Don't love it. Don't hate it. I like the book I was reading when I did it though. T. Kingfisher, Clockwork Boys. Very good book. This I just was using up some gouache and then drew some faces over the top. I'm always experimenting with how I want to draw faces. I haven't hit on exactly how I like to do it yet, but I feel like I'm getting closer. I like drawing mouths like that. Eyes wide apart, not that big, kind of small, and big eyelashes, and kind of curly bits. So yeah, I'll get there. This is from the Haunted Garden Challenge last year. The prompt was Tiny Home. I don't love it, but I love where I was going with it. I just feel like at that point I was still overworking things way too much. More Trixie! Oh, she's so cute. There I was experimenting with frames again. Don't love that one. I think that was when I came up with the idea of doing the lino cuts for the frames. I really like that one. But don't be sad, Trixie. This sketchbook and this sketchbook I kind of did around the same time, so they're sort of, yeah, just dipping in and out of both. This is one of the first pictures I did that I was really happy with in mixed media. This is by Don the Curious Sketcher of Portland Headlight. And yeah, I just laid down the colours with watercolour and then did gouache and then pencil. And I just really, really like how it came out, and I love the moodiness of the water and the sky. This is another challenge. I always feel like I want to draw buildings like this, but I'm not very good at drawing buildings like this, and so I'm always disappointed with how they come out. And those clouds look weird. And I don't love my colour choices. But I do like the scalloping on the roof tiles, so it's always something good in every picture. This is from a picture my sister did of St Kilda Pier, and I absolutely love it. I love these little birds, these little seagulls. I love the building. I love how I've done the lamps, the water, the buildings in the distance, that sign. So happy with this picture. Same sort of thing, watercolor, just to block in the color, and then details in gouache and pencil. And the shadows, I was real proud of them too. This, I was watching his dark materials and there was a harpy, and I was like, yeah, harpies are cool. I want to draw a harpy. And I just went over this so many times and was not happy with anything about how it came out. So disappointing. I like the background, but yeah, I need more practice drawing harpies, obviously. This is one of the first pictures I did in this sketchbook, I think, and I love it. Absolutely love it. T-Rex wearing a top hat, drinking some tea. Is there anything cooler? Maybe, but I don't know what it is. This is, yeah, just awesome. I love this guy. He looks like he just told a really bad joke and he's laughing at it, right? Oh, you're funny, T-Rex. This is that frame again, and I just wanted to draw a Victorian looking woman in the background. The reference looked nothing like this, but I really love how her cape came out. I don't know if you can see on there. Zoom. Oh, my phone's getting very hot. Zoom. You probably can't see, but yeah, I've got some detail in there that I'm really happy with. And yeah, I'm happy with how I did her hair as well. This is just, yeah, watercolor with gouache over the top and pencil again. You know what I don't like, right? I mean, I understand that, you know, they need to do it for whatever reason, but when they have the Artistico Fabriano imprint on the paper, like I know all the fancy brands do it, but it's just like, I don't want such a big thing on my paper. It's just too overbearing. Just do a tiny little F or something. This is a still life I did with stuff I have around the house. I was trying to be painterly, and I'm just not a painterly painter. So I'm kind of happy with my little cauldron, how that came out, but yeah, it just looks a bit gloomy and messy, not in a good way. So this is a picture my sister took. I think it's in the UK. She put it up as a Draw This in Your Style challenge last year. I'm really happy with how I did that car because I'm normally terrible with vehicles, as you can see by that misshapen car there. Happy with the traffic lights too. It was a fun picture. And this next one I did a couple of weeks ago, and that is the Daniel Smith gouache and golden open acrylic. And I just love this. This is kind of the direction I want my art to go in, a bit more Victorian style with like a bit of creepiness. I feel like actually these three sketchbooks are a really good representation of the evolution of my art style, and we're coming to the culmination of that with this picture. I really love the Daniel Smith gouache. I got a whole video about how much I love it, but it just blends so nicely. And then yeah, I just put a bit of the opening to kind of give it some highlights. The skull actually might be the Liquitex parchment ink, to be honest. And yeah, I had another picture underneath which I didn't like, so I just did a layer over the top, and it kind of just shines through a little bit like headstones, which I'm sure you can't tell on the video, but I really love how it came out. So this is one of my favorite pictures I've ever done. Very, very happy with it. This is another one of the first pictures I did in this book, and that is my dog being a dapper gentleman with his top hat and his monocle and a bow tie. I feel like put a top hat, a monocle, and a bow tie on anything, and they look awesome. And I'm really happy with like the frame came in, and my goofy faced dog with his little funny smile, like that, very much. This is a picture I did of my old dog Gemma, like not directly of her because she hasn't been around for a very long time, but she was a beagle. She always loved food, So I thought saying, "Are you going to eat that?" was very appropriate. Not sure what this is from or why I did it. I feel like it might have been some sort of challenge. Ended up not liking it because her mushroom hands looked a bit not like hands, if you know what I'm saying. But I don't hate other things about it. I quite like the foresty kind of background and still working on how I'm doing faces. I wish I'd dated all of these. I did this the other day. I'd drawn this, painted this castle, and I'd done some sort of weird mark making on it, and I didn't like it. And I was like, oh, I'll just do another layer over the top. And then forgot I'd done it in gouache, not acrylic gouache, so it kind of all smeared together. And I was like, oh, I'll just go with that and see how I can make it. And I love it, you guys. I love it. It is just, look how moody and I don't know. I feel like it's more painterly than I'd normally do, but just incredibly happy with how it came out. Moody landscapes. I love them. And yeah, I was going to do a bit more to it, and then I was like, nah, I don't want to ruin it. Yeah, how awesome. 2 thumbs up for my own painting. This is another recent one, which I did with the Golden Open and a little bit of just acrylic gouache. Very happy with how her face came out. Normally I draw faces because I'm too scared to paint them, but I painted that one and it came out very nicely indeed. I'm really happy with the detail on the dress too. I feel like the composition's a bit simple, but I don't hate it. Top hat. She doesn't have a monocle and a moustache though. Well, she might be wearing a monocle on her other eye. Who knows? But I feel like she's got pretty good eyesight. Maybe. I really love, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Dewey, I'll put it up on the screen. I don't want to butcher it. But I've got a lot of his artwork prints around my house. And he does a lot of kind of girls floating in the sky kind of thing. He's amazing. And I kind of wanted to do something that was a bit of a homage, I suppose. This is a bit older, just a simple little ghosty. I just was playing around with how to sort of get ghosty kind of folds, like sheet folds in your ghosty, and what kind of faces I like putting on ghosties. Pretty happy with that little guy. And this is the final picture. This is my favorite picture in this whole, in any sketchbook I've ever done. Maybe my favorite picture I've ever done. I had the background painted in red, and I wanted to use just the Golden Open over the top, just the black and white, to see if I could get something kind of striking. And I really felt like painting an umbrella. So I painted this, and I just absolutely am so happy with it. So happy with it. I love it. The Golden Open paints are so nice and they blend so nicely. It's like using, like, the good points of using oil paint without the crappy parts. Like, they don't smell, they don't have all the cleanup, all of that. I will definitely be getting some more one day when I'm very rich because they're not cheap paints. So yeah, that is the last page in this sketchbook. The paper's lovely. I mean, of course it's lovely. It's Fabriano. It's just beautiful to paint on. The deckled edges are very charming, aren't they? And yeah, I mean, it's just a very, very nice sketchbook. But for the price, I think that I don't think Etchr sketchbooks are worth the price, basically. I think that I'd prefer to get just like a block of Fabriano paper or a roll and maybe make my own sketchbook, or just, do it on loose sheets. I've got this guy, like Fabriano sketchbook, and the paper's just as nice. It's pretty nice. And I mean, these are still expensive, but not not insane expensive as the Etchr one. And I mean, for an everyday sketchbook, you're better off using, I think, Royal Talens Art Creation, because I mean, this is still inexpensive. It's about the same price as like a Stillman and Burn or something, and I mean, it's fine paper, it's nice paper, but I don't think it's worth the price for an everyday sketchbook. And I just don't like the Perfect Sketchbooks, probably because I don't like doing straight up watercolor. I mean, if you're a watercolorist, might be worth it, but I still would. Uh, eh, nah. I just don't think they're worth the money. They're nice sketchbooks. I mean, if you're getting it as a gift, I'd be happy, you know, which that one was kind of. It was from the dogs. And my sister and I got these in a 3-pack, which made it a bit cheaper. I think we got, you know, if you get like 3 sets of 3-packs on the Etchr website, you get a discount. And we got accordions, these, and I can't remember, maybe just those 2. And so we got the discount. So it was a bit cheaper, but even with the discounts, I think that they're not worth the money. Sorry, Etchr, but nice sketchbooks, overpriced. That is my conclusion. If you want to know anything else about the Etchr sketchbooks, just drop me a comment and I will answer it as best I can. But that is these sketchbooks for now. Thank you for watching. Bye!